Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. That means once again we got some more wrestling reviews for all of you. First things first, we're going to be doing, of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling with their 52nd anniversary, but also coincides with the beginning of the New Japan Cup. And then, of course, we move on with AEW Dynamite. As you all know, we just entered the fallout after Revolution. So the real question is, where do we go from here after Revolution? Well, that is a good question. So we're going to be seeing where this direction will lead us, and then for the foreseeable future, we can try to speculate or guess as possible. But then we cap it up, of course, with some news updates that tell you guys what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, and any developments going on in the world of pro wrestling that we need to address for everyone to understand what's going on. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also from Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put any news updates on this particular episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something happens in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. We also do Naga Sayaka Watch and various other cool things on this channel as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button or leave us a nice comment in the description down below or click on the like button. So now all introductions are set aside and everything else needs to be said. So let's begin with our very first review, and that is from New Japan on their 52nd anniversary. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. Right now, they just had their recent show, 52nd anniversary show. As you know, they have this every single year. Now, if you guys ever seen this particular event, at the end they normally have the tradition of the junior heavyweight competitor, heavyweight champion taking on the current IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, which is a long-standing tradition that happens. However, many people did not like the idea of having Show because he's a disgusting piece of garbage because of evil, and of course Naito put out the stipulation, but that is until the very end. But also, don't forget, I did mention the New Japan Cup begins. Now, those who are new to the channel, who are not too familiarized with New Japan, let me explain what this one. There's annual tournaments that every year New Japan throws out, and one of these is the New Japan Cup. Now, this is a single elimination tournament. Basically, when you lose, you're out completely. There are tournaments where you don't get eliminated until you reach a certain point system. That happens only with tournaments like the G1 Climax, the Best of the Super Juniors, World Tag League, and the Super Junior Tag League, those type of tournaments. But nonetheless, this is only a singles tournament, so it has begun. Now let's begin with the non-tournaments ones that we're going to be focusing at this moment. First match, we have Tomoaki Hamna, or as Kevin Kelly used to say, "Hey, look, it's Hamna." He teams up with, of course, Tonga Loa, and they take on the United Empire, Jeff Cobb and Great Khan. Now, keep in mind, the United Empire are still trying to get themselves back together. As you know, Will Ospreay is no longer part of New Japan, since we all know where he's at, and we'll be talking about him a little later. Um, we do see a very interesting moments. However, we are trying to see now that, as I can say, okay, the United Empire needs to be stronger again now that their leader has gone abroad. But it was Jeff Cobb with the Tour of the Islands onto Hamna to pick up the win. But however, Great Khan and Tonga Loa just decided to duke it out outside. But I wouldn't be surprised if Tonga Loa decides to issue a challenge to Great Khan for the KOPW title. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, Mikey Nichols and Zack Sabre Jr. They take on the current New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions, GOD, the new GOD, El Fantasmo and Hikuleo. Now, you would think that this is going to be a very simple match. Now, don't forget, we know that GOD are still suffering over the loss of the IWGP Tag Team titles, but we know they'll be uh, defending their current titles that they hold at a Windy City Riot. But at the moment, they have to contend with TMDK. But it was, of course, Mikey Nichols with a Blue Thunder bomb onto LP to pick up the win. Now, the obvious question I asked myself watching this match and towards the end, does this mean that TMDK will challenge for those belts as well? I know they have have aimed for the IWGP tag team titles, but we'll just gotta wait and see. Now, our next match, we have LIJ consisting of Bushi, Hiromu Takahashi, Yota Tsuji, Shingo Takagi. They take on Bolton Oleg, uh, El Desperado, and the guys from Chaos, Hiroki Goto, and Tomohiro Ishii. So you probably would think this is a very unusual matchup with this team. Now we know that Desperado has dealt with Hiromu and of course with Bushi, since they're both junior heavyweight competitors. But it was of course Bushi, ever since he is trying to put the pieces back together after losing the IWGP title, junior heavyweight title, to that moron show. He was the one who picked up the win with the Escalera. And that was a pretty good, impressive win. But however, I don't know exactly what Ishii said to Despy. Now, keep in mind, Despy just revealed that Strong Style is officially done. I wouldn't be surprised if Goto invited Despy to join Chaos. I mean, that would be a huge opportunity for Despy to join, because he has proven he is one of the best competitors. And I think that sets it up. But however, as soon as the winners made their way back, Tomohiro Ishii was viciously attacked by Chase Owens, who he will be facing at the following day for the New Japan Cup. So we will be watching that as well. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. Now, our next match, we have the United Empire, the other members, Calvin Newman, Francisco Cara, and TJP taking on the Bullet Club War Dogs, Ghetto, Gabe Kidd, and David Finlay. Now, keep in mind, they think now that Will Ospreay is done, that means that nobody will ever live up to the shoes of course, of Will Ospreay. I mean, no one needs to live up to those shoes. But however, I was surprised because all three of United Empire members are in fact junior heavyweight competitors, but somehow they had to deal with that obnoxious nut job, Gabe Kidd, and of course David Finlay. But it was, of course, 2-2 by Akira and TJP to put away Ghetto. And even Gabe Kidd told them that, there's that even if they won this match, it doesn't mean nothing. But we'll see. Now, our next match, well, we know these two teams had dealt with each other in the past. We're talking about just five guys consistent of Doiki, Yuya Uemura, Taichi, and Sanada. They take on House of Torture, or I like to call the House of Idiots, Dick Togo, Yoshino Kanemaru, Ren Narita, and Evil. Now, if you guys remember, Yuya Uemura recently lost in a hair versus hair match against Yoshitsuji, and he showed up with a very interesting haircut. I mean, it. Chris Carlton said that it resembled Naito in some way, and I think that is a very good observation because Naito was in that same kind of hairstyle before, many years ago. So it makes me think, is he aiming for Naito? Because we know one of his goals is to win the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Well, we'll just keep in mind on that. But however, as always, we would have assumed as any type of match that the House of Torture would definitely try to do their usual shenanigans to pick up the win. Well, they did not because all thanks to Yuji Uemura, who ever since losing his hair has become strong. He applied the deadbolt suplex and adios, dick. So it was over right from there. Now, our next three matches are part of the New Japan Cup. Our first match, we have Yujiro Takahashi and Toru versus Toru Yano. Now, we know these two had dealt with each other before, but don't forget, Yano is always up to his usual tricks. Now, you would think that Yujiro will try to say, okay, what is this guy going to do to me again? Well, he knows the kind of things that Yano will bring to the ring. Like, for example, um, handcuffs and tape, that sort of thing. He tried to handcuff Yano into the sidebar, but somehow into the guardrail, but he somehow escaped. But Yano decided to grab Watanabe and push him towards Yujiro Takahashi, handcuffed him, then low blowed him, and of course, like Kevin Kelly said, but now Chris Carlton says it. Oh, my monitor! Basically, he gave him a low blow and left him right there, and Yano won by countout. So that's gonna be interesting to see. So, but the official timing of this match is 2 minutes and 56 seconds. So not bad. Now, our next match, we have Yoshihashi versus Kenta. Now, according to what the commentator says, Yoshihashi has never beaten Kenta, so this is going to be an interesting. Now, we have seen Yoshihashi grown up so much over the last couple years. I mean, winning his first championship, which is the never openweight six-man tag team titles with Goto and Sho, or Ishii, I think, and then of course winning the IWGP tag team titles with Goto. But how different will it be with Kenta? Well, you can say that maybe certain things were unusual by Kenta. We know Kenta is very methodical, that he tries to sneak up one, but somehow Yoshihashi applied the crucifix and it was over right from there. Now, our last match involving the New Japan Cup, we have Jack Perry versus Shota Umino. Now, don't forget, last month we did see the arrival of Jack Perry, who attacked Shota Umino after winning his match. But the real question is why? So he's saying that, he was declared a scapegoat, and he's trying to say heroes like him are always will be the scapegoat. So he's trying to get Shota Umino to see, hey, you're nothing but a scapegoat. No matter how many times you try to be the hero, they're going to look at to you as the scapegoat. But we know that Shota has not been in a good state of mind ever since Ren Narita stabbed him in the back and was unsuccessful to win the never openweight title. But you would think that this match would have been Shota Umino's moment to finally gain his confidence, but however, those pieces of garbages, the House of Torture decided to rain on his parade, take away everything. And then, of course, it was a knee strike by Jack Perry to pick up the win, and it was over. But however, it appears that Evil gives him a House of Torture shirt, and he is now officially a member. So right now, the real question I ask myself now, Umino has failed several times, but this is not one of them. He did not anticipate that the House of Torture will get involved. I'm sure he will get his revenge against them in some way. But if I was Shota Umino, I would attack them where it hurts them the most. I'm talking about opportunities like the New Japan Cup or title opportunities. Try to take that away from them. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match we have, of course, is the tradition of the junior heavyweight champion and the world heavyweight champion facing off. However, many fans did not want to see this match. They wanted to see El Desperado. But Sho, who claims he's the real star of the junior heavyweight. He is now the best in the world. No, you won because you had help from Ren Narita. But Naito said this to him. Okay, here it is, kid. If you beat me, I'll vacate the belt. And I'm sure Sho says, ha ha, thank God, because he would say, Evil said it that you're unfit to be champion. But, well, in the match, of course, we're going to see Sho. But Sho was smarter enough to attack Naito's knees because it's no secret Naito has bad knees. But Naito was really hold on as long as possible until, as always, when it comes to the House of Torture, the referee is out, they make their way. But luckily, LIJ were there to give the House of Morons a piece of ass whooping, and that's exactly what happened. But it was Destino who finished the job on Sho. So that was pretty fun and it was great. However, Naito did address not the elephant in the room, but more addressed of what's at stake. He knows that Yota Tsuji and Shingo Takagi are in the New Japan Cup. So it's no doubt for him, he doesn't mind that if these two were able to win the entirety of the New Japan Cup, he's down for it. So yeah. So we'll see that one coming up if that happens. I'm looking forward to it. So I think that's pretty much it right now with New Japan Pro Wrestling. I believe it's time for our final review, and that is AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. As I said earlier in the start of this episode, that we're in a fallout after Revolution. Now we saw only one title exchange and others retained, and we're asking ourselves, where do we go from here after Revolution? Well, that is a good, obvious question. So let's begin with, of course, with one of the competitors involved in a three-way match for the world title. We're talking about Swerve. You know, he talked about, of course, how disappointing that he said that he swore that he was going to come out as the champion, but he felt like that was a total lie. However, he did state the reason maybe he did not win the belt was karma for all the things he's done. Like, for example, invading Hangman's Page's home, all the things that he did try to prove a point might have cost him everything. And I'm sure that's something that he might have considered. But however, Samoa Joe decided to get into his face and tried, to understand what he's talking about. And of course, while that was happening, the Undisputed Kingdom showed up. But as you know, Wardlow won the All-Star 8-man scramble match, indicating that he will get a future title opportunity against Samoa Joe. Adam Cole told Joe that he's only champion because of him. So he feels that it's only fitting that this will has to happen. However, Swerve, in the other hand, and from everything else, decided to insult Hangman. But Hangman said that he's gonna have Joe and Swerve team up, but they take on, of course, Bennett and Taven until next week. But Swerve said, "Let's make that happen now." Sorry. But anyway, Tony Schiavone was the messenger, got told by Tony Khan that match is going to happen now, which it did. Now, of course, the obvious question, even Taz mentioned this, how will Swerve and Joe coexist? That is the good, honesty question. I mean, Joe, we know he's capable, but at the last minutes of the entirety of the match, Swerve then did not even tag in Joe. So he decided to do things on his own, which he did. He put MLJ in the ML driver on Taven to pick up the win. However, when Warlow was coming out, Joe choked out Swerve Strickland for two reasons. One, to send direct a message to Warlow, but also a message to Swerve. So we'll see what happens from here on out. Now, Before his upcoming title match, Hook does an interview talking about Brian Cage. However, Chris Jericho comes out and tells him, the history of his dad, telling him about the suplex he gave him back in the 90s during their ECW days. He said that he had a lot of respect for his dad for, doing that. And then he said during the match at Revolution, the All Star 8-Man Scramble, Hook did the same thing to him. So he showed him a lot of respect. I kind of wonder what Taz would think of it. Maybe he feels great that Jericho respects him. And now that it's like coming full circle to the kid who inherited it from his dad. Now, before anything else, the Bucks says they have two huge announcements. They try to do a Tony Khan thing, but they decided, we're gonna make those announcements in the ring. Now, our next match is the FTW title. Hook defends it against Brian Cage. Now, it's no secret that this belt was brought upon by Taz and declared Brian Cage as the first AEW FTW championship. And of course, we saw that exchange hands not only with him but with uh, with Ricky Starks and then Hook and then Jack Perry, then back to Hook. But of course, Brian Cage goes out of his way to tells him to say that he doesn't belong there. Of course, Taz will take that as offense, but Hook took every inch of strength and power to prove a point that he does belong there. Not to mention, he put Cage through a thumbtacks that, of course, is a real hurt on him, and then he applied the red rum on him, and of course, he passed out. It was over. However, before anything else happened, um, the Gates of Agony, Bishop Com and Teo Leona showed up and attacked Hook. But luckily, Chris Jericho showed up and gave Hook the helping hand. I would like to see where do we go from here with Hook and Chris Jericho. I wouldn't be surprised if they would team up after this. And I'm sure Taz would appreciate Jericho for helping his son, even though he knows Hook can look after himself, but he does need people around him to have his back. Now, as you know, Orange Cassidy lost the international title to Roderick Strong. What's next for him? I kind of suspected that he said that it's time for a look at other championships. But however, the obvious question does tell is, of course, we all know that the AEW World Tag Team titles are now vacant and there will be a tournament. Of course, the best friends Chuck and Trent were in the conversation. However, Chuck said that he is not 100% cleared yet, but he did say that both Orange and Trent will be in a match this coming Friday, I believe. But yes, so can't wait to see where that's gonna lead us from there. Now, our next match, we have Killswitch taking on Daddy Magic, Matt Menard. Now, keep in mind, Matt Menard did everything in his power to help Daniel Garcia to hopes that he can win the TNT title thanks to Christian Cage with his obnoxious ways. But however, of course, there was going to be interference. But unfortunately, there was a lariat done by Killswitch to take out Daddy Magic. Then Killswitch wanted in the post match to finish off Daddy Magic. Luckily, Daniel Garcia showed up for a helping hand. And then, of course, they laid both Daddy Magic and Daniel Garcia laying, unaware that Adam Copeland is back. He took out both Nick Wayne and Killswitch. And then, of course, Shayna Wayne tried to low blow him. But Adam Copeland actually learned a lot from the last encounter. And then he chased Christian Cage around and of course, Christian ran like the coward that he is. Of course, and then later we heard from what Adam Copeland said that he'll be coming for his belt on March 20th or 21st in Toronto. And this is going to be part 3 for the TNT title in an I Quit match. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, as you all know what happened in Revolution after the match of the international title, we saw the return of Kyle O'Reilly. Now, the obvious question is, he did address about the 2 years he was gone. Of course, 2 years is way, way, way gone, and he's been unable to do anything. But, of course, the obvious elephant in the room is the Undisputed Era. Now, he does say he still has nothing but love for everyone in that group, but he feels that he's been out of touch with them. I mean, you know how you always have those friends that you always hang out, you go out to a bite to eat or go out for beer, stuff like that. I think Riley felt like I'm not in touch with those guys like I used to. So he said that he's going to go solo. Now, there's no doubt in my mind that Adam Cole will do whatever it takes to get him back into the fold. And I'm sure Roderick Strong will probably want that too. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, we do see the Young Bucks go into the ring and address the two announcements that they have. They said that Hangman Page has been suspended after hurting two referees during the match. I mean, which is understandable, but the real one is the next one address that they put out. They fired Kenny from the Elite, saying that they haven't heard from him, that he's not doing his obligations and all that. I mean, it was really kind of bizarre. And of course, Kenny did put a photo of his face, like what? So I don't know. But anyway, while this was happening, Eddie Kingston decided to get in their faces. So basically, they went on a 1-on-2 type of scenario until all of a sudden Kaguchika Okada showed up. Now there were talks about him appearing in AEW, and I know many WWE loyalists were hoping that he would get in, but I know many pro wrestling fans in general believe WWE don't know who this guy is, and I think that's a fair assessment. Now, we all presume when Okada first arrived that he was going to help Eddie. Nope. It just turns out that he is now the newest member of the Elite. So basically, he's kind of like the guy who replaced Okada. I mean, the guy who plays Kenny, my bad. Yeah, so he's like, well, Kenny's out, Okada's in. Now, if you guys know this or not, and they're outside the ring, Okada and the Bucks are really good friends. Um, I remember in an interview, the Bucks talk about how when they were in TNA, Okada was in TNA during his excursion, which was, of course, people have often say it was the worst excursion that he's ever been in. But they always took care of him, and of course, Okada was the one who got them the opportunity to go to New Japan. And I think it's like coming back to full circle for them, if you believe that. But yes. Now, our next match, we have Chris Statlander versus Rio. Now, this is a very interesting match. Now, we can all agree Chris Statlander is strong and powerful. But when it comes to Rio, due to her size, don't underestimate her because we have addressed it. Many people over time, including that piece of garbage, Jim Cornette, has criticized her for her size, like saying women's wrestlers are not supposed to be like her. Well, we saw how good and great she is. But you would think that that would play out in some capacity. Well, kind of did. Not to mention, Stokely Hathaway tried to help by giving Chris Statlander the chain in order to take her out. She refused, but apparently she was rolled up by Rio and picked up the win. So, just like that. Now, Renee Paquette did two more interviews after this. She interviews Tony Storm and saying that next week at Big Misses there will be the Tony Awards. I have that distinct feeling something's about to happen. I just don't know what, and I'm not going to say it. And then, of course, her next interview is with Willow and Stokely. Now, I was later told that Willow will be facing Riho, and of course, it would be a good opportunity to defeat the former AEW Women's World Champion. I mean, the inaugural Women's Champion. And of course, she said she does have her sights set on the TBS title, which is, of course, something she wants. Now, as you all know, at Revolution, Sting has officially retired. So the real question is for his tag partner and friend Darby Allin, what's next for him? Well, we do know next week he will be facing Jay White. But, however, what his life will be like Sting, I know it's emotional because he said that he swore that he will try to give Sting the best send off as possible, and that's exactly what he did. He even mentioned that after his match against Jay White, that he will be going to Mount Everest. So, but he did say in case he doesn't make it alive, because I don't know how dangerous Mount Everest is, but I do know it is dangerous. he did thank the fans just in case if he doesn't make it, and he was really emotional. And then Jay White comes out, and I don't know exactly what he was trying to do, but Darby Allin's like, I'm not having it, that sort of thing. But now, Julia Hart, along with Sky Blue, as you know, she has been paying attention what Willow Nightingale said, but she did stated that on Rampage there will be a house challenge for the TBS title. So we'll see where that leads us. But however, her friends, her, you can say, big brothers, House of Black, sent a message to Briscoe. Now, of course, Briscoe went too far, but the real question is, will he survive this encounter with them? Well, we'll see. And what does Mark Briscoe have to say with it? Well, he was interviewed with Renee Paquette about that. Well, it kind of did the same thing. So at Collision, he will deal with them, but all of a sudden, Jay Lethal, who has been close friends with them, more specifically, Lethal, who's close friends with his brother Jay Briscoe, decided to help him out for this one. So basically, he's stepping away from the dickwads in order to help him out. So we'll see where that leads us from there. Now, our main event, we have Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher. Now, you would think that this match was going to be amazing. So that is something you would expect. I wasn't too sure. I mean, we saw the Oz cutter even going outside the apron, going all. But of course, the biggest moment is when, of course, Kyle Fletcher took took it like a champ and took the hidden blade, and it was over from there. But the unexpected surprise was Bryan Danielson, who showed up. I'm like, okay, where did this go for Bryan Danielson? He's going to face against one of the best wrestlers in the world, and I think he's going to test him on that. But I'm kind of curious what Don Callis will have to say about him because, of course, he has the BCC by his side, so we'll see where that leads us. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for all reviews. Let's move on with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with updates with the promotions. Now, as you know, later on this month, on the 10th of March, Jersey Championship Wrestling will have March Madness. Well, they just added another match into the mix. We have Charlie Tiger. He takes on Mecca. Then, of course, New Japan has added more talent to their upcoming Windy City event that takes place on April 12th. They added God, Hikuleo, and El Fantasmo. Now, it's still unclear whether they will put the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team titles on the line. That is still unclear, but hopefully that's the case. And then they even announced Tomohiro Ishii will be participating as well. Now, that's pretty much it for all updates on the promotion. So let's talk about other developments going on. You may have heard that Bull Nakano has been inducted in this year's WWE Hall of Fame. I know many fans have been mentioning on social media that this was a long time overdue. Well, you can say so. So I'm looking forward to hear what else. Now, in the previous news update, I did mention that Latigo Toxin Aries has officially quit AAA. But however, it was confirmed that they had a few days left in their contract, and now it's been confirmed by Lucha Blog that they are officially no longer with AAA. Now, if you probably ask me, why did they leave AAA? Well, some people say it's because of their not being able to be on TV, mostly on AAA, which is understandable. But we have been seeing them making appearances in the U.S., which is not uncommon, but it's mostly the speculation. Now, we just been heard that Jim Ross has signed a 1-year extension on his AEW contract, so we'll be seeing more of him. So I'm excited to hear more of Jim Ross. I mean, Jim Ross is a legend in the wrestling business as a commentator, so I'm very happy for that. Now, this one was really caught my attention. I have followed it ooh, for a long time. Now, if you guys remember, I mentioned months about maybe a few months ago, Yoshi Promotion Diana had been dealing with a photographer who's been taking inappropriate photos of the girls, mostly on their butts when they're bending down entering the ring, which was inappropriate. They've been trying to put this hose bag, take them to court for this and lawsuit, but Diana did put a statement on that on March 13th a trial will be held in the Tokyo District um, 806 court regarding the case in which we had in a previous report. A player belongs to company repeatedly took images that emphasize sexual parts during the match, uploaded them in the internet. Begins. You can listen. So yeah, so it seems that this hoseback who's been taking these inappropriate photos of the wrestlers, well, he is now gonna be going to court for this. So he's gonna pay the price. Um, I mean, it's really disturbing that some people would do things like that to these ladies. I mean, they shouldn't be. Somebody should have been doing this type of thing. I just hope that things work out in Diana's favor to get some sort of justice for the girls. You know, because I'm sure they were embarrassed and they for what this guy did. But hopefully, justice can be served. So that's all I'm gonna say. So I think we're pretty much done with everything with all the reviews and our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we continue with more of New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Japan Cup. We're still not done in the opening rounds of the tournament, so we'll see where that leads us. We do have TNA and Ring of Honor, so I'm sure everybody's going to be looking forward to those. I haven't decided if I want to put something else or just stick with just those three. We'll just see what happens until then. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.